Today
All
I'm
right.
joined by our third King of Fighters 15 qualifier winner. He had a tough tournament run. It went all the way in a grand finals. I am joined by Luigi. Hey Luigi, how are you? And how are you still alive after that tournament?
Hey, how you doing, Senor? I'm my heart still cannot take it. Not only because of my matches, but I think every match at top eight, most matches at top eight were really close. A lot of spaghetti stuff happened, but it was it was really funny. It was really close, and I think that we all felt the excitement of those like really close matches up to that point. But hey, I'm honestly really surprised that I won. I actually didn't expect to beat the likes of Boblan and Akatsuki. At least Boblan is someone that I still to this day consider better than me. But I'm happy that I was able to adapt in those games and able to pull my first VCU win. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean you won against Akatsuki in the grand finals after a 3-2 reset by him, and Akatsuki he bet Vivi twice. Like he was the only guy so far that bet Vivi in the tournament. So you won against the guy that won against the guy that usually doesn't lose. So that already speaks for you. And
Thank you.
Just talking about the matches, it was just too incredible. Like it was just too hype, and my heart couldn't take it. Like after the loser bracket finals with Bublan dropping the combo into losing.
Yeah, I mean, you saw me typing in the chat like, bro, I cannot play. My heart cannot take this. It was crazy, but it was it was a really fun tournament. It really was.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was the best tournament I have seen in forever. Like I can't remember a tournament that was, so high level and so entertaining at the same time. Because at high level, you sometimes just have tournaments that are really one-sided, where one player is kind of untouchable. But in that tournament, like it looked like you had 4 players that could take it. So it just came down to who is taking the last match, like who's winning the anchor matchup. So
and every match it was like so extremely close. I think it's just as you say. Like anyone like could have taken it. I certainly didn't expect to take it. After I saw Akatsuki, Vivi, and Boblan in bracket, I was hoping to get top 4 at best. But like after that, after winning the tournament, I'm feeling like a little bit better for myself to my in regards to like my skill level in KOF. That doesn't mean that I didn't make any mistakes. I made plenty of mistakes. But yeah, I'm actually like super proud of winning this like stack tournament. And yeah, even my girlfriend watches me sometimes, watches me play in tournaments, and she doesn't know what's happening. And even she agreed that everyone was at the edge of their seat. And after watching the VOD, like the commentary between you, Frel, and Grim, it was just so crazy. Even though obviously I wasn't hearing it while playing it, but after watching it, I was like, man, if I was watching this match, I would also be in the edge of my seat because this is crazy. I mean, you saw how the grand finals reset happened with him waking up level 2, and then me chipping and getting chipped out, and he was like 1 pixel of health. It was just, I couldn't believe when that happened. I was like, there's no way, bro. There's no way. But I'll take the win, even though a spaghetti as much as it was. I'll take the win.
I feel like everyone had tournament nerves. It was just so tense for everyone, and you just make mistakes in tournament. It just happens. Like Bublan said, oh, I was thinking about the timer because the timer was at 4 seconds. Which combo to do max damage to kind of stop the timer with supers, that he drops it and he loses it. He loses the first three just because he overthought. Like it's just that crazy. And I think
but the thing is, I super understand him, because that I think that's something that has happened to a lot of players, where there's this very, very like tight scenario in which it's very difficult to win, but then you get the small chance, and the chance is like guaranteed once you get the hit. But because of that moment of like ecstasy, of that moment of you realize that you can win right now, suddenly your mind goes blank, and you're like, wait, what was I supposed to do here? You know, and you end up dropping combos, getting execution errors, and it's just that's part not only in KOF but in fighting games in general. But I kind of feel like in KOF that's like special, you know. So I totally understand what he went through at that moment.
So you took the tournament, but I have not asked the most important question so far. Like for people that don't know you yet, I mean, I think they saw your nickname, they saw the Venezuelan flag, and I just saw on Twitter one guy was like, "Man, that's a good connection between France and Venezuela." So can you just tell people a bit more about yourself, your KOF history, and so on?
Okay, so my name is Luigi, and I come from Venezuela. But I started competing in fighting games in MK11 when I was in Colombia, when I was there for my studies. KOF 15 is actually my first KOF game. I did play 2K2 a bit before, because Leo SJ, a player, also a KOF player, like really convinced me to play KOF. I wasn't going to play it until he convinced me to play it. Thank God that he did, because I love the game so much. But yeah, shortly after I moved to Spain, which is where I'm currently living in, I started competing in Guilty Gear Strive, and then right now I'm competing in KOF 15. I did compete in Street Fighter 6 a little bit, but now I'm thinking of switching that game for MK1. But I think that my main game will still be, at least at the moment, KOF.
KOF 15. You're playing the characters that got the extra hands. So.
Yeah. My team is a team that doesn't like. The reason I pick my team is because they don't play KOF. That's the thing. I like, generally when I play fighting games, I like set play and puppet characters. For example, in Guilty Gear Strive, I play Sato. In Blaze Blue Central Fiction, I played Carl. Now in KOF, there's a bunch of offensive characters in KOF, right? But the characters that I pick are Kukri, Shune, and Isla, and they all have like their way of, hey, you have to play their game if you want to beat them, otherwise you can't. If you play KOF like you normally do, you won't stand much of a chance, because they have so many random stuff that they'll just confuse you, and that's what I like. I like the tricky setups. I like the offense, and I like the, hey, I'm playing a different game than the game that you're playing. That's just my playstyle, and I love them. I love every character so much. Before, my favorite character used to be Kukri, but thanks to last patch, I think my favorite character to play right now is Shune. He's just so fun to use. So fun to use.
And we saw a lot of Shunai tech, Shunai setups after, getting the hard knockdown. What is it? Forward light kick to get into the air dash forward, air dash down. So it's just to...
The thing with Shune is that nothing of what he does is like exactly true. Like everything has a counter to it. But that's because it's not meant to be true. It's the mental stack that he puts you in. Like, will he do the instant air dash? Will he go for the empty low? Will he go for a throw? Will he go for just a standard, run up a low and then a shimmy? Will he go for a throw bait where he goes the blue hand in the air, or maybe the EX air dash back, and then the dash forward, which is the buff that they gave him? And that's what I like to do now to bait people waking up with grabs. It's just the mental stack and the ability and the tons of options that he has is what makes me love him so much. I still love Kukri and Isla a lot. The thing with Kukri is that Kukri turned into a zoner from day one. He used to be like this he he still has plenty of high pressure and mix-ups, but I think he's, at least the way I play him now, thanks to the sand pillar. You know how I love to build those EX sand castles. He's more focused he's like a hybrid between an offensive character and a zoner. But I like, when I have the most amount of fun is when I do the tricky setups, the tricky mix-ups. It's just what I like to do.
Luckily with Isla, you have the tricky setups with the double jump as well, and good old trusty taco.
Yeah, the taco, you know. That's, if you see me play, I'm going to do it at least like 3 times in a row. Some stuff like that, because I love using it so much.
And the current patch also got buffed, right? You can now hop over opponents with the taco, which was not possible.
Yeah, it was. It was not on this patch, but the one previous to that, I believe, if my memory serves me right. Where now when she hyper hops, she gets to jump over most opponents. There's still certain characters that she cannot jump from. Like, for example, let's say Rugal and King of Dinosaurs. Those characters that are like really tall, she cannot exactly just do a hyper hop and then cross them up. But for most characters, she absolutely can, and that's where she gets the mix-up.
Yeah. For me, as a neutral Isla main, I don't mind that change. I felt like before she was a bit kind of one-sided. Because you really wanted to cross up, but there's not too many ways to cross up. But now with the hop taco, it's really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because before it was very predictable that you're gonna go for the cross up.
Yeah, you still have very tricky ways to do like really mix up the same side and cross up. But the ways I've seen people use that more effectively, like for example Vivi, I think Vivi's Isla is actually better than mine. It's actually people going for full jumps, and then instead of using the taco, is going for jump B. Not even the player doing the mix-up knows which side they're gonna land. That way, I've seen that mix-up many times. But actually, my favorite thing to do with Isla is doing the double jump on hard knockdowns, because people love to mash throw on empty jumps, and it's for a good reason, because that way you avoid the empty low mix-ups. And if they go for a jumping attack, you block, and if you go for an empty throw or an empty load, you get the grab, right? And for Isla, is one of the very few characters which says like, hey, you actually have to really ask yourself if you really want to wake up with a grab, because otherwise you'll get punished hard. I think that's my favorite thing to do with Isla and Shune as well. I love to bait people waking up with grabs. It's just so fun.
Yeah, it's a good. It's definitely a good thing to have down, because as you mentioned, people really like pressing the wake up grab as a reversal in KOF 15. So getting those baits in, really good. You get the free combo. We take those. But like overall in general with the current patch, like how do you feel? I mean, we are the first. This is the first season with the current patch. It dropped right before we started, so we are kind of 3 weeks in. Like, how's your impression of the current KOF patch, the current meta?
Yeah, for the current meta, I cannot say, but it definitely feels like it took a turn for the best. The patch I liked a lot. A lot of the characters that were like super strong, I feel like for example Cronen, Kyo, and Bijeni, like they all got nerfed. But I don't think that they are unviable per se. I don't think they got that destroyed, or at least I can think of a lot of characters that are actually still worse than them. But I think I'm a little bit biased here, because my favorite part of the patch was the Shune buffs. Even though Isla got nerfed, which she deserved, don't get me wrong, and she's still strong. I actually think that Isla is still strong even after the nerfs. What they did with Shune is just so fun, that now his crouching A is 4 frames, he can out combo it into 4 light kick, and that you can now do EX air dash into another air dash is just so fun. Even though I know that no one uses it, I like it because I like fun mobility. And also Kukri got I think it was 3 buffs. that all were a few were quality of life improvements. I feel like one was like a really needed buff. I think which was the ability to get something in grounded Shatter Strike. Now he can do the light tatsu and then combo from it. But if you ask me, like in general for the patch, I actually think that the patch was actually really good. I saw that a lot of people didn't like the patch. I don't know. At least again, maybe I'm biased, but I actually like the patch. I think they took a turn for the best. I love, at least in comparison to other fighting games that I've played, I think that the balance of this game is really good. There's still things that need to be improved. There's still, I think, characters that need some love. But overall, my opinion of the patch is mostly positive. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to hear. I mean, they nerfed the top characters, as you mentioned. They buffed like the low tier characters. So yeah, so far.
There's certain characters that I'm obviously there's every time you read a patch notes, there's always gonna be that character that you're like, why? Like for example, Rio. I don't know why that guy got like more buffs than nerfs. I believe he got more buffs than nerfs. Maybe I'm wrong. But the thing, or actually, I feel like he's just as strong, if not better, than previous patch, and I actually think that he's like the most complete character in the current game. But again, it's super early to say because we're only a few days in the meta and there's 58 characters in the game, so it's hard to keep track. I think the most negative thing that I could say of the recent updates is probably Duo Long. I'm sorry, I just don't feel like he's like actually very good right now. Not to say that he's like unviable. I wouldn't go as far to say that, but at least from what I've tested and from what I've seen other people use him, it felt a little bit underwhelming per se.
I mean, he deals low damage, right? So he needs to hit quite a few times.
Yeah, and to confirm, it's just a nightmare because the thing is that since forward A doesn't hit crouching opponents, confirming with him feels like really inconsistent. But again, maybe I'm wrong. I will try to make him viable. Maybe not for tournaments, but I think for like a casual team, I'm thinking of a casual team like I don't know, Nash, Duo Long, and Sylvie. I'll probably try him out. Maybe I will say, hey guys, I was wrong. This character is great. It's just an impression that I had. Like for example, I used to think even before patch that Shunei was absolute garbage, and then when I saw Noregov playing him, I was like, yo, I want to do that. I want to do what he's doing. And then when I play him, I was like, yo, this guy is not broken. It's not as good as, I don't know, Isla and Kukri and whatever. But I was like, yo, this character is actually underrated.
Yeah, it can happen that characters are just kind of neglected. I mean, in KOF 14, it was also the same way where Shunei got buffed and then everyone played Shunei and everyone was like, man, this character? He's top tier. Like he got easy safe jump setups, and it was a real issue in 14 for quite some time. And it's just that people started playing the character. So as you mentioned, roster is really, really big. So maybe there are gonna be some characters that just rise up all of a sudden and become top tier. I mean, coming from other games, for example, Tekken, where people suddenly were like, oh, Fang is broken. And then Fang loses a tournament against Kunimitsu, and then Kunimitsu is broken. It's like...
Yeah.
which character the best player is playing. It's like Xiaohai. If Xiaohai drops Geese Rock, and now he plays like, I don't know, Benimaru and Terry... And
everyone think that they're the best characters in the game.
Yeah. So Xiaohai.
Yeah, as I said, it's just it's only I can only give like impressions right now. But at least from what I've seen, most of the patch I think it's has been good, and the game even though I believe I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I think that KOF of all the games that I've played, it's one of the most balanced ones by far. even if you, for example, let's say that I got into a conversation with Street Fighter 6 players that also play KOF, and we somehow get into this objective debate, and we conclude that Street Fighter 6 is more balanced than KOF. Let's say that's the case. Even still, I would say, bro, you cannot compare 58 characters with the amount of characters of Street Fighter and other fighting games. Like, you just cannot. At least in KOF 15, 58 characters feel more than viable, and they actually feel more closer when it comes to tiers than most games, that at least the ones that I played. So I'm actually like really happy with how they've been dealing with balance. Obviously, there's stuff that I'm still like scratching my head as to, like, for example, Rio is one of those examples. Some of the nerfs early in the early patches I didn't really like agree with. I think that sometimes they say that they want the game to be like more focused on neutral, but there are some characters that say just screw neutral. Obviously there's always like stuff like that. But I think overall I like the balance of this game, at least in the current meta. I cannot give conclusions as to like who's top tier, who's low tier. The only ones I'm like sure they're really, really, really strong are Rio, Isla, probably Kukri still is still there in the high tiers. Maybe Yori as well, but I will have to see, because I still think it's very soon to come into a conclusion.
All right, you were already talking about other games. You mentioned you play MK1 now. You're playing KOF. Are there any other games you're looking forward to? I mean, we already got teased with the new Fatal Fury game from SNK. Is that something that you're looking forward to? Or maybe like Tekken 8 in January, Project L? So many games on the horizon. Like anything you're looking forward to trying out?
The game that I'm mostly looking forward to is probably Project L. Probably that's the game that I'm the most looking forward to. Garou looks very interesting. I will certainly try that. But the things that I have no experience with Garou games or Fatal Fury games. I did play it a bit in like some random fightcade moment with some friends. Maybe that's the case. I think I played one time. I think I did play a randomizer tournament with Real Bout 2, and that was it. But probably Project L is the game that I'm looking for. The only game that I'm not that excited about is probably Tekken 8. Not because I think it's going to be a bad game or anything like that. I actually like Tekken. I used to play Tekken 6 and Tekken 7. I used to play Lars. And in Tekken Tag 2, I also played Lars with, I think it was June. And in the original Tekken Tag, which was one of my first fighting games ever, I think I played Kazuya Law. But what I was going to get at is just that Tekken has never been like that game I want to compete in, because I understand the movement and like, the 3D aspect of it, and I think that's good. It's just not my style. I like the classic, 2D fighter, and never when I play a Tekken, like, I do have fun, but I don't get that fun that I get in other games like KOF that actually motivates me to, lab the tech, to actually understand deep the game, try to compete in it. It's just never hit that point for me. But again, not because I think the franchise is bad or anything. I think the franchise is great. It's just not really that much for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's the general 2D, 3D thing.
It's just that I've been spoiled for 2D fighters ever since Marvel. Marvel 3 is like one of my childhood fighting games that I love so much, even though I know that it's broken as hell. I just been spoiled by that kind of games where there's just 2D movement with broken setups and broken mix-ups. It's just what I like.
Yeah, man. Then Project L seems to be right down your alley. I mean, especially playing puppet characters as well.
Yeah,
so for what we saw, already some 30 character switch mix-ups in Project L, and I wonder when they're going to release that game. Hopefully we can play it next year.
It's probably gonna take a while, but yeah, I'm loving. I'm actually loving like every character that they showcase. I'm like, every character looks sick. But I think I think I will try out probably Echo and Ilaoi. Even though Ilaoi, they haven't shown anything, they just shown like art of her, and they confirmed that she's going to be in the game. But I wonder like if she's going to have like any set play, at least related to how she plays in original League of Legends, which I used to play for quite a while when I was in college.
Okay, so you got the League of Legends experience down as well.
Yeah, and the good thing is that League of Legends actually was the game that motivated me to play fighting games, because the reason of that was, regardless of what multiplayer game I play, Overwatch, it could be League of Legends, it could be Dota, it could be any game. There's always that feeling where you have certain teammates where you're like, man, I cannot win. Like, there's just no way I cannot win with teammates. And there's also the feeling like, hey, I'm playing horribly, and actually my teammates have to carry me so that I can win. Even if I win, I don't feel like I deserve the win, because again, like, they're carrying me, which is even a worse feeling. Whereas when I play fighting games, and this is again a feeling that I have, I'm not saying this is a feeling in general. When I play fighting games, even if I'm playing against a really, really like top player like Bublin, for example, or even when I'm playing, like, for example, more in MK11, I played once against Kitana Prime. Even if I'm playing against a player that's been playing for years, they know all the tech. They top 8 every time they go to Evo with 1,000+ entrants in every tournament and that kind of stuff. Even then, I'm like, yo, I could have won that. I actually felt like I could have won that. I should have done this. I should have done that. And when I'm watching the replays, I'm like, yo, this guy did the same thing 4 or 5 times, but he did it because I didn't have any counter to it, and I actually could have punished it for it. That's the reason that got me into competing in fighting games, which again started in MK11. I used to play Collector in that game. But yeah, thanks to League of Legends, made me realize what I want when it comes to competing in games. I just love fighting games, and whenever I want to play like something single player, I play like something a little bit more chill. I like, for example, Baldur's Gate. I'm currently playing Baldur's Gate 3 when I don't want to play fighting games.
Yeah, I mean, League of Legends, for a lot of players, it's either you don't want to play MOBA because they stress you the fuck out.
Yeah, and it's super addicting as well. But it's just, but thanks to that, I realized, if I want to get into like that high octane, that fast decision making type of experience, it's probably going to be with fighting games, especially when I'm competing in those, even if it is online. Like, the adrenaline that you get whenever especially when you're on stream and you know that people are watching you, it's just this different type of feeling that at least I don't get doing anything else, and I just love doing that, and I think I'll continue to do so for a bit more.
Okay, talking about competing, there are still some offline events coming up this year, or early next year. Are you going to travel to any event?
So I was thinking to go into UFA, but the thing is that my vacations weren't approved. But I was talking to some of the managers in my company, and they'll see if they can rethink the decision, because I really want to go to UFA. I want to take as many chances as I can to appreciate that KOF 15 is still being a game that's considered for majors. Because I know that once it stops being in those certain events, I know that I'll regret it. I regret it so much when it happens, and I'm like, yo, I should have competed in here. Because again, I just love the game so much in comparison to every single other game that's been out there for competing. These games are, Tekken 7, Street Fighter 6, Guilty Gear Strive, Multi Blood Type Lumina, and other games. To me, and I've played all of those games, to be fair, and the game that I love so much, and it just clicks for me, is KOF 15, and that's the game I want to compete in. So for UFA, it's gonna be difficult because, again, I think my company cannot approve the vacations for those days specifically, but we'll see. If not, regardless if I go or not, I think that for 2024, I want to try to go to Mix Up. I'm probably going again for Brussels Challenge, for VS Fighting, where I'll probably be competing with MK1 and KOF 15.
Okay, so France, Belgium, UK,
Yeah.
pretty much the big events coming up. I mean, there's also SNK World Championships. If
Yep.
maybe you can still grab a spot. Well, in this case, I know they announced UFA being a qualifier, but let's see. Maybe they are going to be more in Europe. We
Maybe
don't
they
know.
announced it, like 2 weeks before the event, like they did with VS Fighting. Maybe that's the case. It's not rare for SNK to do that. I mean, I'm fine with it not being part of the World Championship. I'm just going there for compete in the game that I love, to be honest. But hopefully I can. And also next year I'll see. The thing is that traveling outside of Europe is expensive, but I'll try to see if I can maybe sneak in some some combo breaker, some probably or some tournament like that, because I really want to go to like a real big American major.
Yeah, definitely a different experience. I mean, right now we got events with 1,500 players in Europe, but in the US they got 6,000 or something. So definitely a different a beast.
Absolutely. But I want to see. It's more about like seeing like, hey, taking into account that this was a tournament with that many entrants, let's see how I perform. I've always wondered about I've always wondered that, like, when I play against like high level American or Mexican KOF players, I want to see like how close or far I am from them. We have rollback and stuff, but that's I don't think that's an option with KOF. With the distance being that far, that's definitely an experience that I want to try out.
Yeah, it's definitely too difficult playing at 150 ms. I mean, for Street Fighter, it also doesn't work. Like it just doesn't work. It's just too far away. The ping is just too high. So I mean, if we can play properly in Europe, at least, it's already really good. Because in the past we already had trouble playing Germany and France, or Germany, Spain, or the good old Sweden to Portugal connection all across Europe. People really enjoyed that. In, for example, Under Night, where they say like, this is unplayable. Holy shit!
Oh yeah, that's another game that I was interested in playing it. And the reason I did play Carmine for a bit, but only labbing. I think I did play some online matches, but just like very casual, picking random characters type of matches. But yeah, I know how you feel. Like that netcode is just it's just unplayable.
Yeah, so at least we can play in Europe, KOF. We can enjoy that game. We can enjoy these online qualifiers we are doing with you and the other top dogs in Europe going against each other. And as mentioned earlier, we can get a heart attack watching the matches.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that.
That's already good. But yeah, of course, America would be lovely to see you there representing our community as well, the European KOF community. And I think there are going to be quite a few chances. And I hope next year SNK is going to announce events earlier for the SNK World Championships. So, I mean, as you mentioned, it's, you try to go to an event, but then, like, you don't know. For example, Versus Fighting, as you mentioned, like, announced 2 weeks earlier before the event took place, and registration was closed. And I don't know, as you're a Venezuelan citizen, you will likely need to get a visa, right?
No, but the thing is that I'm a Spanish citizen because my family is half Venezuelan and half Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it. It's more the expensive than anything else. But I have the visa, thankfully. or
Okay.
not. It's not really a visa. It's just or at least to my knowledge, I think Spanish citizens can go in the U.S. Without any problem, as long as you bring your documentation. I feel like, and I think you need to have like a travel permit, but it's not as complicated as a visa. To my knowledge, I might be wrong, but I think that in that regard, I'm kind of good.
Yeah, in that case, then it's not too difficult. You only need to register yourself that you want to travel to the US, and then you kind of get a permit that's valid for 2 years, and then you can just go there and go through immigration and get your tourist visa. So then it's easier. But I know that, for example, for some players that, for example, came from North Africa to Europe, if they want to go outside of Europe, I mean, UK now also is outside of the European Union, so already going to Birmingham can be an issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the Spanish citizenship, the Spanish
it's
passport,
a blessing. I'm telling you, it's
a blessing.
It is a blessing. As someone that comes from Latin America, trust me, it is one of the greatest blessings that I have in my life.
So that was my last question about the tournament, Luigi. Is there anything you want to tell your fans or let people know where they can find you, how they can challenge you to a few matches?
Yeah, sure. So I'll start with my YouTube profile. My YouTube profile is Luigi FGC, where I did a full, complete character overview of all the characters in KOF. I need to do the DLC ones that are coming right now, including Duo Long, but I will put them in the description. And I plan to make just generally, I plan to make educational content most of the time for fighting games. At least right now for MK1 and KOF 15. In Discord, I mean, you can find me in the 2BCU Discord server as Luigi. I'm named Luigi everywhere else, and you can also join my Discord, which you can also find in my Twitter profile that you see on the screen. Where I coach people and do replay reviews for completely free in Street Fighter 6 and in KOF 15. If you ever need any help with understanding the fighting, the games, understanding how to use your character, or maybe a replay that you are not so sure what to do about, I always do it for free if I have free time. And on Twitch, my name is also Luigi FGC, and you can find me there. I haven't streamed in quite a bit because my dad has been visiting me, but I plan to get back to streaming either next week or the next one after that, where again I do educational content. I do replay reviews for any of my viewers, regardless if you're following me or not.
Awesome. So if you want to learn some KOF, then hit up Luigi. You're gonna get your private lessons. And he's going to tell you how to block all the Shunei setups, which is you don't
exactly
block the setups.
You don't. Trust me, you don't.
So Luigi, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me
for the interview, and I wish you good luck in the upcoming tournaments. And I hope to see you again next Thursday. And
yeah, I believe I'm available for next Thursday. I'm mostly certain that I'm available for next Thursday. So yeah, you'll probably see me in the next 2ECU.
Awesome. Dan, thank you again, and have a nice day.
Thank you so much. You too.